One of my favorite autumn snacks is roasted pumpkin seeds. So today I want to share with you how I make them and 5 ideas on how to flavor them. When my daughter was little, we would carve a jack-o'-lantern every year, maybe two, and therefore we had a bounty of pumpkin seeds to roast. But now that we're empty nesters, I rarely carve a jack-o'-lantern and have to purchase a pumpkin just for the seeds. But don't worry, the pumpkin won't go to waste, as I know people with chickens that would enjoy a pumpkin treat. I simply use a sharp knife to open the pumpkin. If you have a big knife, you could just cut the pumpkin in half if you aren't planning to carve it. I did it this way just in case I decide to get creative with a jack-o'-lantern, but I probably won't. Scoop out the flesh and the seeds. If you have textural issues, you might not like that part. It does help to wear gloves. Once you have all the pumpkin guts scooped out, you need to separate the seeds from the flesh, and this can take a little bit to rinse them well and remove all the little particles of pumpkin. You want them very clean. I probably spent a good 5 minutes or more rinsing them and removing all the tiny pumpkin pieces that stick to the seeds. And then once they're sparkling clean, I move them to a tea towel, blot off the excess water, and then I leave them on the counter overnight to dry thoroughly. The key to crunchy seeds is to be sure that they are dry before you prep them for roasting. Once your seeds are dry, you might notice that they are stuck to the towel, and this is why I use a tea towel versus a regular dish towel, so that I don't end up with any fuzzies stuck to my seeds. Simply use your fingers to loosen the seeds and then put them in a bowl. I'm going to split mine into two different flavors, so I'm going to use two bowls. Now, I promised you 5 different flavor ideas, so the 3 that I am not doing today would be plain, and yes, I count that as a flavor. That would just be a little drizzle of olive oil with a sprinkle of salt. Another option would be to flavor them with garlic powder and smoked paprika in addition to the salt, or skip the salt and use cinnamon sugar for a sweet option. For the 2 flavors I am going to make today, they are both savory, even though one sounds like it would be sweet, but it's not. All flavors start with a little drizzle of olive oil. For the cocoa version I'm making here, I do roast the seeds a little before adding the flavors because I don't want the honey to burn. But once I've added the olive oil, I give it a good stir, I'm ready to flavor my chili flavored ones. And I am just using some salt, a little cumin, and chili powder. And I can't really give you measurements. It really depends on how many seeds you have and how flavorful you want it. All I can say is that I use mostly chili powder, a little less cumin, and even less salt. Stir that around until everything is coated. These are the seeds that I will be using for the cocoa mixture. Like I said, I am roasting them about halfway first before I add the flavor. The most important thing to note here is that you want to take the time to separate the seeds the best you can into a single layer. This will allow them to roast evenly and thoroughly. I stick both trays in the oven at 425 degrees. The total cook time is usually close to 15 minutes, but you have to stir them every 5 minutes or so and then watch them closely at the end. After 5 minutes, I pull the chili flavored seeds out, stir them around, and then move on to flavoring my cocoa seeds. I put them back in the bowl. I add my cocoa powder, which is just a sprinkle, I don't know how much, a little drizzle of honey, and mix it around. The honey makes it sticky, but it's what keeps the cocoa really sticking to the seeds well. There isn't enough honey to make it sweet. It just adds a little depth of flavor, if you will. If you want it sweeter, you could skip that pre-bake step and just use white sugar along with the cocoa in your olive oil coated seeds. That would be tasty. And again, take the time to separate them out the best you can before putting them back in the oven. It is difficult to separate out these ones now because they're sticky, but do what you can. I stir them around again at the 10-minute mark and then at the 15-minute mark, and then I let them go a couple extra minutes because my taste test told me they weren't quite done. But once done, you can let them cool a few minutes and then move them to an airtight container. Enjoy them within a couple of days, assuming they even last that long. Thank you for joining me. Happy fall.